Trinidad and Tobago, welcome. Welcome, 3:30, 14th of April. Those of you trying to call me, now is not the time. Those of you trying to WhatsApp me, well, I'll return it after. It is 3:30 on, well, it's a little later than 3:30. So, I've not done a live video for about 5 days. And I've not done a personal live video for a while. I've been doing the plain talk videos, and I've been doing plain talk videos with guests, a high level of guests, so that you would see and so that you would know that there are people in this country capable of manning the ship, that there are people in this country capable of running the country, that you would see and that you would know that this jackass brigade is not all that there is, or the tomato pickers on the other side. I see Kamala find her voice, all of a sudden, you and Vasant and all of you all was prepared to just sit idly by and let the government do what the hell they wanted. Now you're finding your voice to ask where the testing. I really not even taking you all on anymore. I think you're irrelevant. I think the UNC is hoping that the outrage with the PNM is so severe that people have no choice. You know, when you just have to settle for one from column A or one from column B. And that's why both sides working overtime to assassinate the characters of the members of the Progressive Empowerment Party, especially mine, because they don't want you to know that there are alternatives, that there are real choices and people who could run this country. Terence Dialsing, Stuart Young, Keith Rowley, Carl Membert, they are all political criminals, and they should be charged for reckless endangerment for every citizen who succumbs to COVID-19 coronavirus. And to all the people who don't understand, who trying to make excuses, I want you to wait and make sure nobody in your family don't get this and dead before you talk. Just wait. Let people have their outrage. Let people say the words they want to say, because that's what they're entitled to, and that's the last thing we have. Let people talk. I want to tell you something. I asked lawyers on my show, if you have a presidential proclamation on the 31st of January 2020, how long would it take to get that proclamation ready? How long would it take to draft, write, communicate, set up the proclamation meeting, all of that? 7 days, 10 days? At least from the 21st of January, with the communications, so the Ministry of Health, CARFA, CAREC, PAHO, WHO, all the different alphabet soups would have contacted our Ministry of Health and said, listen, there is a virulent strain. I want you to hear the choice of words there, because some of you think that you could introduce time in your rewriting of history that doesn't exist. I want to tell you how you know this, right? When they train fire officers don't count 60-second minutes and they don't count 60-minute hours. Fire officers train to count 1-100. Fire officers train to count 1-100, and they estimate risk and time to loss of life in 1/100ths of a second. And they train that way so that they focused, so that they know that for the duration of this emergency, nothing else exists but this emergency. That everything that was on my mind before doesn't matter. This is what matters. 1-100, 2-100, 3-100, 4-100 to the door. And you breach the door 1-100, 2-100, 3-100 to the window. And then you reach the window 1-100, 2-100, 3-100 to the victim. 1-100, 2-100 to retrace your steps. You now have 800s that you counted before to take you back where you came from. It is a focus on your mind. And that focus on your mind, you're in a world where light and space and time and all those things don't matter anymore. It is mission oriented and it is expedite. This is how they trained. And they trained like that to operate like that. Other emergency people trained. I did a driving course by the people who train New York City paramedics, and I'm not supposed to say this, but I want to tell you, I'm giving you some information. You trained to see the world as it is and as it's coming, but you're not just seeing it, you're trained to record it, and you record it either in your mind or you record it under your breath, but you record it and you say the words, because when you say the words, you trigger your short-term memory. Anything that happens right now, me speaking to you and you looking at me, when you hear it and you're hearing the other words that I'm saying, you could go back to the last couple words I said and make the whole sentence make sense, because that's your short-term memory. If I say something that hammers it home, it moves it from your short-term memory to a system that wants to record it in your long-term memory because something hammered there. But your short-term memory's job is to keep your worldview in a three-dimensional situation that you could react in space and in time to suit what you are recording as you're recording it. So how they drive and emergency drivers are not the ones. If you watch, when you watch real documentaries on fire response, paramedic response, ambulance response, even police response, those guys that train, you realize they are not the ones that communicate with the call center. They're not the ones that communicate with HQ, because their job is to map and move. Map and move. And I'm telling you all of this because we're living in a country where our people are doing the opposite of that. That we've learned, and we learned that time exists, but we also learn that we are in a constant state of revisionist history. So when you watch something happen in your conditioned mind, you have to apply all the excuses that you've been taught to apply to what you just saw, to make what you just saw make sense in your world. And you come to the conversation and you talk that conversation. So you say out loud that Trinidad would get coronavirus anyway, that the rest of the world knew. How come they didn't stop it? So why didn't China do something about it? The World Health Organization. This is called deflection, misdirection. And when you internalize this cult behavior, you rob yourself of your most powerful tool. Your most powerful tool in life is your ability to critically think. Because critical thinking doesn't just map. Critical thinking assesses. Critical thinking asks questions of everything in real time. Critical thinking makes it difficult for you to be blindsided. Critical thinking makes it difficult for you to be fooled. But cult thinking inculcates messages, talking points. They give you reasons and rationales, and you're supposed to be able to explain to yourself without anybody explaining to you why Fatima College might be a prestige school and Mokorapo Senior Comprehensive across the road, 16 feet of tar, will be the worst school in Trinidad and Tobago, a literal shit school. Fatima, prestige school. Mokorapo, shit school. 16 feet of tar, because it is the same Ministry of Education, it is the same curriculum, it is the same pool of teachers, it is the same finance. So how will you get to explain Fatima College is a prestige school and Mokorapo is a shit school if you don't have inculcation? You see, if you lack inculcation, if you have critical thinking, you will ask a question. You'll ask a question as to how is it possible that the same pool of teachers from the same Ministry of Education teaching the exact same curriculum from the same books pay the same money? How could 16 feet of tar make one top 5 schools in Trinidad absolute worst school in Trinidad? And how could 58 years pass, or however long that is existing? Eric built the secondary school system. So let's say 40, let's say 30 years, because it's there a long time. How could you exist in a country where mummies and daddies celebrate that their child passed for Fatima, or they hide that their child passed for Mokarapo? How do you live in a country where you are supposed to know it is the same teachers taught the same way to teach? It is the same education system. It is the same Ministry of Education operating on the same $4.5 billion a year. It is the same curriculum. It is the same books. So how does one become prestige and one have to fail? And the fact that the critical thinkers of this country have not yet descended on that. So their children get into Fatima at 11 and other children end up in Mokarapo at 11. And these children from Fatima are given all of life's best advantages and leverage it to a successful life. And in 20 years, they are 31 and these children are 31. The difference between their existence is so pronounced, is so profound, that you cannot disconnect the 16 feet of tar between Fatima College and Mokarapo and not see that that is the source of the dysfunction in this country. But we are not good as a people. We are not good at facing reality. We are better, and I showed you how cult minds work. We are better at lying to ourselves. And we lie to ourselves and we tell ourselves it's the neighborhood, it's the parents. We border on the race, but they have very black children in Fatima doing very well. They have very black children in St. Mary's College doing very well. So we can't say it's the race, but we want to say it's the race. So we will use a word, we call it class. And we'll say, if I give you more of the oranges and you have less of the oranges, you're in a different class to me. And because you have more oranges than me, your children are going to be stupid. And we accept that. Without hesitation. Without questioning. It's like today, Terence the Alsing made an announcement that they will investigate Brooklyn in Sangre Grande and the $105,000 a month contract to rent it based on public outrage. The first thing he did when the information came out and public got pictures of what exactly he did with these human beings for $105,000 a month, you literally put them in a roach motel. And you put them in a roach motel, and when the public got to see that it was a roach motel, the first thing you did was you sent your trolls, the Rhoda Barretts and them, you sent them out there to say, but what the hell wrong with them? They're damn lucky. They're lucky they're not on the side of the street or dead from COVID. The government helping, blah, 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 blah. And normally, under normal circumstances, Trinidadians are supposed to take that chain up. Yeah, but the government helping. But Trinidadians didn't take the chain up. So, step 2. Run in some financial store downtown, let them open it, and go in there and buy some curtains and some paint and some disinfectant, and send some URP people up there and scrub and put up curtains, bright yellow, bright green curtains on some brand new rods that I bought from Gary Aboud place and people like him, brand new. You throw them up, but Trinidadians not taking that shit. They're not taking that shit. So the next step is bullshit. And we are bullshit level now. Bullshit is Terence the Alsing announcing we must have an investigation. Now investigation will do 2 things. Waste your time and distract you. That is a PNM operative's property like every other version of anything that happens in the country. That for you to benefit from $105,000 a month for that piece of shit rat hole, somebody in the PNM know you and advanced your cause. So Terence Dial Singh is not interested in an investigation. He's not interested in the truth. In fact, he couldn't recognize truth. In fact, forget truth. The decency responsible to uphold truth, he wouldn't recognize it if it got away from your yard and bit him full on his ass. He wouldn't recognize it. Because truth and Terence Dial Singh don't live in the same house. And Terence Dial Singh is a son of a bitch. Because it is Terence Dial Singh as the Minister of Health who didn't fire the person responsible. You see, I'll tell you when you really catch them. When you really catch them with somebody make a mistake, somebody make that decision. Somebody high up. Charlie tell Mary to contact Willie, who tell Billy they have a house called Brooklyn in Sangre Grande. We go put them there. So the $105,000 go to the owner. He get the 105. He holds 60. Send back 45 to Harry, Billy, Mary, Sally, Willie, and the minister. Possibly. And everybody share up and get a kakada. $5,000 here, a $20,000 from that, $100,000 from that one. And you catch them on planes, traveling regular, going away to their bank accounts, to stash the ill-gotten gains. To ask with the people in the Roach Motel, and to ask with you. But if you really caught them, if you really did, you see, when Stuart Young said the people feeling safe, so they blanking the patrol, that wasn't good enough. Mr. Stuart Young, you and operatives in your ministry tried to steal $78,000 or $85,000 of patrol. You tried to steal it. No, it wasn't stealing. It was just incompetence. Because if you didn't know that the people felt safe and you organized $85,000 of patrol, the level of incompetence that is, you should have been fired before. So which is it? Were you caught stealing? Were you and financier friends of the PNM caught again trying to steal? But you see, to Trinidad and Tobago, we've not yet learned that bullshit don't solve problems. Bullshit only helps mushrooms, you know. That's what bullshit is for. Keep them in the dark and feed them bullshit and they will grow. And you are not a mushroom, I'm sure. You don't want to grow up to be a mushroom. If you want to be a critical thinker in a first world country that works, then you're going to have to demand more. And you're going to have to say to Terence, miss me with the bullshit. It wasn't rocket science to point Brooklyn in Grande. It wasn't. Okay, Cora, sorry. Miss me with the Buffalo Go Bar. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't difficult for you and Harry and Mary and Sally and Billy to make a decision to use Brooklyn and Sangre Grande. Sign off. Somebody responsible for that. And that person needs to be fired. But pump your brakes. Because when you go to fire that person, you say, I ain't taking this. I had no interaction. Like the Secretary General of the Prisons Officers Association who say, watch me. I was not the one that gave Abood and Justice on Time the contract to move prisoners. Don't put me in all your crap. That no prison officer was involved in that conversation. That was a political decision outside of the Prisons Association. So we know that. Like we're supposed to know that the person they want to throw under the bus for Brooklyn and Sangre Grande, that is not the person. And you need to squeeze him or her till she say, Now, Raymond Timke, when he get fired, he get handled. He get a payoff, hush him out. When Trinis forget, 9 days Eric blight them. In 9 days they can forget. And we'll give a board position. We're going to be ambassador. If Orville London is the ambassador to London, what do you think the qualifications to be a PNM Trinidad and Tobago ambassador is? What do you think? Orville London, who need help to string a sentence together, you think he really represents anybody to anybody? You think anybody's inviting Orville London anywhere seeking his input? Think about it. It's jobs for the boys. So take your firing, hush your mouth, Hold that. That was what you was expecting to thief this year in kickback downtown. Hold that. And we will find a post for you. You need to get to the place. This is $105,000 a month to rent a rat hole, a literal roach motel, to put recovering citizens of this country. Not the step down for the prisoners who coming out of jail to make room for who, I don't know. But you're bringing people out of jail where they're in an enclosed and safe environment so they don't get COVID-19, to send them out in the street where half of them have nowhere to live and tell them go home and stay out of the COVID-19. But I can't touch all because sometimes when I talk to PNM people, it's like their head is want to explode. They just start to cuss and carry on and cuss me, tell me about my mother, come my father, but because they can't take that much truth. They can't take that much information. If you give cult members too much information too fast, you could get them a stroke. You could break their mind. It's not easy to be a PNM supporter and look around and see and realize that you're hearing. You ever hear, you know what deja vu is? Somebody coined the term deja vu. And deja vu is for every PNM voter who realizes, wait now, I hear the same shit before. That's what deja vu is. And when you're a PNM cult member, and watch me, I'm not excusing the UNC. By me not saying UNC, it's not me excusing UNC, you know. It's me ignoring UNC. I want Kamala, go plant your tomatoes. Plant baigan, plant bodi, plant baji. The country doesn't need you. An entire event happened in Trinidad and Tobago with those 4 security companies. Those 4 security companies. And the cancellation of that contract, it's choking him and them. To not say Phillip Alexander, it's choking it right here. And it's choking them because they know. When Gary Griffith did the interview with me, they had to copy my interview and leave me out. You know how hard it is? To create the absence of the existence of a reality of a person that driving the narrative. And you have to pretend that that person is not there. So there's a gap. You react. The media has printed stories where people have reacted to what I have said without actually saying what I said. So all you print is the reaction. And you never even call me on the phone to ask me what I think. To the people reading the story for the first time, it must make no sense. In response to something said, this minister said this. But you didn't tell them what was said. But you stumped him. And we in a situation now where getting people to just realize everything that is being said to you at every press conference is a lie. Now, Cora Panton, she's a darling of mine now, and she's on the live and she buffed me and she tell me I can't use no bad words at all because children watching. But I'm telling you all now, this is my disclaimer. I want to cuss. I want to cuss stink, and the only reason I'm not cussing right now is Auntie Cora buffed me. So all you see Cora on the chat, tell her thanks, Phillip ain't cussing in this video. But Terence Dialsing, who said, the public upset about this, I want an investigation. Terence, the public upset about Faris Al-Rawi, his connection to the Nahus family, him being the husband of a Nahus clan and One Alexandra Place. We upset about that. Terence, could we get an investigation into One Alexandra Place? Terence, we upset about 3 Alexandra Place where the Nahus family, Michael and Zamad and the rest of them doubled down and went and built next door to One Alexandra Place and say, oh, want pipe, take pipe. Faris, organize our next contract there for we. That the country don't need, that we cannot afford. And we just accept. We as a people are taking this. And I just talked to Randolph Goodrich. Randolph is one of Trinidad's top DJs, Code 9. Randolph ended up in a hospital today with an ailment. And the doctor that saw him said, "Ain't you walk in here? You're good, man, go back home." And I had to tell Randolph, that doctor didn't start out so. That doctor started out as a good person. But over the years, every time that doctor has to go to his senior superior and say, "This is not proper public health, this is not, we're not doing this right." And the superior tell him, "You have a salary, you have a job, you get paid every month, hush, go with that." And the superior generally, usually is a political operative getting paid a fat salary to keep them dumbed down. So I asked today, why are you not using the time to fix the water supply? Because you can't explain how the rest of the country don't have water, but Blue Waters don't run out of water ever. How is that that Blue Waters and Dominic Hadid can't run out of water? You know why? Because Dominic Hadid rented a piece of land from Caroni that was mortgaged to a company called Pernod Ricard. Leased to a company called Pernod Ricard. Pernod Ricard came to Trinidad and Tobago to plant anise. And Dominic Hadid, I think, bought the local company. But there could be more information to that. I don't have all the information. To be honest, I don't care. But there's an aquifer on the land. And that aquifer contains water millions of years old. And the water in that land belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But the people of Trinidad and Tobago not getting that water unless they buy it from Dominic Hadid in a Blue Waters bottle. And that's not the only aquifer in Trinidad and Tobago. There's another aquifer in Trinidad and Tobago down in Chagaramas. In fact, it's some of the purest water in the Western world. And it's being used to run a water park and a water slide that Junior Sammy and another 1%er got everything moved from Chacacabana. Remember when they used to have a place called Chacacabana? When all they could go down Chagaramas and walk on the beachfront? It's all they can't walk on no beachfront again. All that gone. All that gone. And they take it away and they build water park and zoo and petting zoo and all kind of thing. But underneath there, they have water there in aquifer, millions of years old, that could be serving the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But that's not for you. That's not for you. Terence D. Alsing talked about masks. Today, he said they're going to put out tender for masks. Why don't put out tender for security contracts? How it is that Abood gets security contracts without tenders, but a $10 mask you need to put out for tender? Reginald McLean asked that question today. And I want to acknowledge Reginald McLean for being the one that raised the story. How it is that I didn't hear about the contract for the manhole covers that Nahus imported. How come I didn't hear about that? How come? How come? How come the ambulance contract is never put up for tender? How come? How come? And you see, this, you said it was given to the Syrian Lebanese Association, Women's Association, and I asked, why must Januras get the contract when the people who actually making the masks have a sewing machine in their house? Or you could help them get a sewing machine and you could let those people make the mask. I don't understand how a 1% company owns the contract to mow the lawn around HDC and UDCOT properties, and it is people from the communities that have to come and work for minimum wage or less, while big money, Cora, you see, you're good, that was a cuss word there. Big money paying the 1%, a massive profit margin to just whoosh, whoosh, you cut there, whoosh, you prune there, whoosh, you go home and change your socks. Because they bring nothing to the table. They bring nothing to the table. In a country where anybody could be taught how to mow a lawn in 50 minutes. So why didn't you, HDC and UDCOT, create sub-companies? Sub-companies in Mova, Beetham, Laventille, Silos, Lahoketa, Talparo, Arangwes, anywhere that they have poor people, poor communities. Why didn't you make sub-companies in there? Little cooperatives. Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you create that? So that they could come and pay the same big, massive profits, you know. But now, drill it right down to the ground. So instead of one percenter taking it home to fairways, it's spread out in the community. The people who going to get paid anyway, dog money, shit money, crap money, $9 an hour. But you paying $500 an hour per person. Pay them. Why can't they, for a change, make the money? Why? We are creating criminals in this country with the security guard culture, because a lot of those security guards go home and exchange information for money about what they was watching last night, because you're paying them dog money to put their lives at risk. In a country where people treat security guards like a bandit with a baton, because you pay them crap, but their boss getting millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Now, if the industry on Eastern Main Road, Laventille, had this brilliant idea, Chune, all I know, as I get them an idea, that they quick to teeth it. Hear this one. Remember, we hear this one first. Eastern Main Road, Laventille, has become a ghost town. And the people who live in Laventille, they are some of the most suffering people in this country. My first job, I used to do sales for Long Life Mufflers on Eastern Main Road, Laventille. I get robbed once with a knife to my throat. A man passed his hand through every pocket I had while I was signing a document for a security guard, and made off with everything I had, chain, watch, wallet, and gone, while I'm signing a clipboard for a security guard. And working there and working with people in Long Life Mufflers factory, Emil Elias used to own it. I don't know who he sold it to, or if it shut down or whatever. My uncle Kelvin Johnson used to be the managing manager. And I was doing sales. And watching the people from that community inside of that factory, I mean, it was a dark dungeon of hell. Mark DeGans was a manager up there. You could ask Mark. It was, and this was the recession time, and it was just coming out in recession. But inside this factory, you come in this factory and they lock a gate behind you, but it's like a dungeon of hell, and it's just smelling welding fumes. And I know what Laventille is like, and I want to tell you something. If every business in Laventille paid a per square foot support fund to the community in which they are, it could be 10 cents a square foot. You wouldn't need gates. You wouldn't need walls. You wouldn't need security guards. If you count what you pay in security guards and monitoring and stress and wrought iron and all the crap that you have to pay to secure your business. If you took that money and you found all the boys in the community, you tell them, if you're not working, or if you're not, whether if you're working or not, I want to contribute to your football side, your cricket side. I want to sponsor all your cricket gear, all your basketball gear, all your football gear. I will work with the regional corporation. You know what? My car park, you see my car park, when the business closed this evening, I will put up basketball hoops and a small goal side. So who want a bounce ball? All your bounce ball in the front. And who want a kick ball? All your kick ball on the side. You never need a security guard again. You never need a lock. You don't need a key. Because you treat those people with respect in their community and not just advantage them. not just come and pollute and take advantage. Now you see, they have some 1%ers listening to me that want to cuss me, but Philip, we gave them work. Work is not enough. Work is not enough. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the smallest, lowest level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the actual consumption needs. Those needs, pay your bills, feed yourself, that is not as important as people's feeling of self-worth and the opportunity to maximize their potential. If you, any of you, had an ounce of the common sense to understand the reason you work, some of you 1%ers work very hard, and the reason you work as hard as you work is because you're trying to maximize your potential. And I keep saying to people all the time, no matter how rich or poor, how black, how white, how tall, how short, all human beings have the same needs. The exact same needs. And we all are driven by the same accomplishments. And I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago that all the money that we spend in security and police, we spend as a nation, the entire budget of countries like Antigua and St. Kitts, we spend $9 billion on national security every year because we don't know how to share. And if the government took back that lawn mowing contract from that 1% company and spread it out to 100 small, suffering ghetto community companies that could employ the same people but pay them better, all of a sudden, you save money in police in that area because the community energized. And that money, watch and see, will fund culture. You don't need to be mobile and digital to stamp the name on everything. That money will fund culture. That money will fund sport. That money will fund the development of the community. A nation is a collection of communities. And until we get that, we will continue to be living in this rat hole, this jungle that we live in, because we don't know how to share. And I am angry that you wanted to give Januras and the Syrian Lebanese Women's Association the contract to make these masks when you could have provided cloth and the elastic and the thread to everybody with a sewing machine and paid them what you was going to pay Januras. Paid them with respect. Housewives and their daughters who are unemployed right now because of coronavirus will work through the night. We will make masks that we could export. Because that's who Januras have to hire. And if you block them, the average little housewife, from having an opportunity, they have to go and knock on Janura's door and take minimum wage to do what they could do home by them. So how does Janura get the contract? How? How do they get the contract? And why are we so selfish that we don't understand that we empower the communities by empowering the people? So imagine if the businesses was giving them the chance to bounce ball and kick ball, and we have an opportunity to make masks, we send it back in the community. You see, you can't be so stink and greedy that you want all, because the more you get is the harder your life working out to be. Drive through fairways, a community that was laid out without walls. 25 years ago, fairways had no walls. Now, you have walls, gates, barbed wire, electric fence, and 2 nights ago we walking dogs in fairways, and 2 different security company vehicles get in an accident. That's to show you how much monitoring 2 different security companies bounce one another. Chester Birchwood just brought up the issue of the Venezuelans. You let 100,000 people into the country, and you said, we're going to make them into dogs, we're going to make them into prostitutes, we're going to let the men clean the moss in the drain, and we will put their wives to dance on tables for us, because their country fell apart, and we were fortunate at the time so we could take advantage of them. Because that's what we did. We had no plan for them. We had no way to assimilate them. We had no real jobs or support for them. All we wanted to do was advantage their pink skin a little bit. And you know that that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted. That was the whole fashion behind letting the Venice in. So you let them in and you advantage them. But no, not with coronavirus. Not even prostitution works. You can't get engaged in prostitution because nobody wants to touch nobody and get sick. So what are you doing with those people? Because I am concerned. Landlords are putting them out of their houses. I do not see anything in any of the media about anything being put in place to help them. Are you sending them home? Or are you giving them some kind of support during this? Because they're human beings too. And you took responsibility for them. You took responsibility for them when you let them in the country, and then you took responsibility for them when you shut down the bars and the restaurants that they was doing dog labor in. Chinese used to feel nice, talking nastiness to girls. Fellas who had to chip up to make a proper sentence, disrespecting girls who, before their country turned to a shithole, were doctors and engineers and lawyers, and they were in university, and they were bettering themselves. Here, we want to see them working in a bar and ask them how much they work for the night, and pelting money on the ground for them to dance. And look where it reached now. Look what's going on here. What thing happening in Trinidad in a month? A little fella begged me just now when I was outside the grocery, and he begged me. He said, "Boss, I don't want no money. Don't give me money. Just let me wash your car now." And I'm thinking, this is the third person for the day. Now, the car stinks, so maybe that's what's attracting people. But it can't be that they have so many people right in my little circle that are available to wash my car, that begging for work and have nowhere to turn. I have read everything that the government has put out for these people. And for the average person, you shut the country down. You shut it down. In Canada, they say, we can't pay a rent, we can't pay a mortgage, but they passed a law that you can't get put out. So the debt is there. And you got to sort out the debt. And at some point, the banks can't take away the mortgage from the person who renting to you, so everybody on pause. Everybody on pause. But we've done nothing. We've used COVID-19 as a way to advance 1%ers and contract mafia members and give out contracts, because when you add up the other three companies, the other three security companies with Amalgamated, the other three security companies don't have 10% of the cars and guards and contracts that Amalgamated have. The other three companies were P&M sycophants and trolls given our contract to. Your job is distraction. We say we give it to 4 companies. But Amalgamated is 1,000 times the size of the other three. And the real contract was the Amalgamated contract to Abood. The other 3 companies was to distract you. And they hoped it would have been enough to distract you. Keith Rowley and his band are looting Trinidad and Tobago. I think Keith Rowley is the worst cancer this country has ever had. He is a nasty, nasty man. I wish whenever he runs out of his existence on this mortal coil, that he spends the rest of eternity in torment, feeling the pain and the tears of every single person whose lives could have been fixed if he really did care about a single soul. There are so many things that you could have done to make people feel safe, to make people feel empowered. I want Trinidad and Tobago to know this. I say without fear of contradiction, if we had no coronavirus, no COVID-19 in this country until the 16th of March, and we were planning to launch a proclamation, legal notice number 34, that told people that a highly infectious disease was heading our way, if we had a proper government that shut the airport down, then Trinidad would be talking today that we had the only government in the world that stopped corona dead in its tracks. But our government did otherwise. Our government led you astray. Our government fooled you. And they're trying to fool you And the chief medical officer, who is accustomed to Trinidadians being distracted, is not understanding why Trinidadians hearing every single word he says and comparing it to every other word he or one of them said. And he's accustomed to Trinidadians being 9-day people. And he's not understanding because he's been thrust to front. Because people think Rowley and Imbert and Stuart Young and Terence D'Alsing are insufferable fools. And we can't take another minute or another word. So they needed to find a tap dancing little, wherever he is, CMO, to come and fool you. And he fooled you for a while. He fooled you for a week. For a week, people, girl children, wanted to get with him. Fuss. It was the first time in a long time anybody sounded anything like they were talking sense. But what he's trying to do now is his version of rewriting history. That it can move from asymptomatic person. What asymptomatic means is that you have the virus, the entirety of the virus, you are going through the virus for the full 35 days or 40 days of the virus, but you have no symptoms. Why? Because your body managing it. And 99% of the people, when you go on World Odometer right now and watch, 1.9 million people have had coronavirus, but 1.6 million of them have had it mild. How mild? Some of them didn't know. Iceland, you see, Kamala don't know what to call for. So Kamala calling for mass testing. Mass testing not going to help us. We are where we need to be right now. The borders are closed. No more shit coming in, so no more coronavirus. We're at 113. We might reach 115. I don't know what the number is, but we ain't going further than there. And if you take out the cruise ship and all that nonsense, it's gone. Iceland thought to get ahead of this, test everybody. Iceland tests everybody. Half the population have coronavirus. Half of them. All of the half don't know. All of them that have it, that are in the throes of it, do not know. And when you go to World Odometer and they tell you 1.8 million people have been tested positive, because that's what that big number is that you're sharing. But that's not all the people who have had coronavirus. This is a planet of 7 billion people. And about 100 million people have had coronavirus without knowing. There is a tiny portion that will have it to the point where they will go to a hospital and test. And of that tiny portion, still, most of them will have it mild. Most. How much is most? 98%. 2%. Less than 1% in many instances will be the very frail, the very elderly, or people with pre-existing conditions. Phillip, what you're saying? You know much people walking around with pre-existing conditions? That's not true. They would know. You'd know if your body is corrupted enough that something will infect you and kill you. You know. You know you're not working. You know you're not breathing properly. You know when they may stand up again lightheaded, you're going to the doctor with that. You know. We're talking serious illness. We're not talking you're walking around with an ingrown toenails or COVID-19 will kill you. And we are at a place. At some point, hear me, no matter what they tell you, because I'm telling you this 2 months now. And at some point, they're going to come back to what I've been telling you 2 months now. That the people who are at risk have to stay home. If we don't get a vaccine, and it doesn't look like we're getting a vaccine, so we may have to learn to live with coronavirus for the future. How long, I don't know. 2 years, 10 years, I don't know. Until a vaccine is discovered that kills it, we have to live with it. Judy Pereira, if you're not hearing me, just come out and come back in and you'll hear it. But the economy is dying and the democracy is falling apart. The democracy is falling apart. I live in a country where I'm scared to death now because the country is falling apart and there is not enough press conferences in the world, not enough media printed doublespeak that you could share, that could soothe hungry bellies. And even if you could take the jabbing. I telling you as a parent, when your children hungry, man just turn beast. We've had since the 16th of March to the 14th of April to get our shit together, and none of our shit is together. Every single human in this country who have a bank account should get $2,500, $3,000 in your bank account every month for the next 3 months. Every Sabga, Aboud, Hadid, Thompson, Chin, Sipasad Singh, Khan, fine names, every single citizen of the country, rich or poor, make no distinction. Drop $3,000 in their bank account, boom, every month. Declare tax holiday for the next 3 months. Declare to the banks, no interest, interest free. If you collapse, we'll sweep the space where you were and bring another bank. Fix your business. You're making $1 billion a quarter. Moses Mayor just asked me, how are you going to pay for that? Moses Mayor, we spend $60 billion on this country every year. You tell me where that money goes. We spend $5 billion, 5,000 million. But you know what I didn't see? When the PNM and the UNC pick up $20 billion, $20,000 million and hand it to Clico, I didn't see people ask how you're going to pay for that. I didn't see them ask that then. $3,000 a month is $3 billion for all our people. Put $3 billion into the economy for the next 3 months. You took $10 billion out of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, $9 billion straight into bank accounts. Cut all expenses. Tell all the utility companies, you're working for free. We will pay your staff. Do not send out a bill. Flow, TNTech, B-Mobile, WASA, no bills. Banks, no interest. We're going to survive COVID. We're going to survive it. How are we going to survive it? We're making sure that everybody safe in their house, mortgage free, rent free for the next 3 months. We will defer everything. If I am telling you to stay home, and I am insisting that you stay home, the least that I could do is to make it possible for you to stay home. You can't tell people stay home in a house where the landlord trying to kick down the door for rent and the people trying to get money for food. You can't tell them that. You don't have the authority. And at some point, you're going to end up with them same people dancing for your water cannon because you had a full month to get your shit together and you failed. So we could have budgeted $9 billion, $3,000 a month. And I telling you, you could take your $3,000 and go and spend it on fine, expensive gourmet food, or you could spend it on flour, oil, mincemeat, corned beef, tuna fish, smoked herring, and get yourself through this. And I would have been telling you every single day. I'll be telling you every single day. This is where we at. This is where we at. But we didn't do that. We didn't do that. If I was a prime minister today, you see WASA at the mid-management level, if you convene all the area supervisors and all the middle managers, forget the top managers. You could fire them. If you bring all the area supervisors and the mid-managers together and you give them a map of Trinidad and Tobago, you say, come up here and tell me where is water, no water, some water, partial water. Tell me on this map. So that we could declare war on no water. And we will redirect, we will shut blue waters down. And that aquifer, I put it in the public consumption pipeline. We'll talk after Hadid. And I'm going down by the water park. And I'm telling Junior Sammy and the 1%er, there are no water park happening now. This water is for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm cutting all contracts. So Mr. Mayor, I want to tell you, all contracts, justice on time and all are done. Because when we're done with COVID-19, we're going to reboot Trinidad and Tobago. But my main mission is to keep my people safe, keep my people healthy, and get us through it fast. A proper government would have shut Trinidad down on January 31st, 2020, when they proclaimed legal notice number 34. At that, we would have shut it down. We would have put the Coast Guard on high alert around this country. We'd have go down in yacht club and commandeer yachts and powerboats to shuttle food and supplies and bring Coast Guard officers back and forth. But I take every single floating platform we had and make a gunship surrounding Trinidad, 3 miles and Tobago out at sea. And if you're coming in, stop so we could search you. And if you don't stop, we will sink you. 3 miles out at sea, a full circle, anything floating, oil barge, tow it. Bring it, add it. We're making a wall, a virtual wall around Trinidad and Tobago. That border closed. We're going and we're shutting the airport down. We're turning off the tower. We're unplugging it. We send everybody home. Trinidad and Tobago is now closed to the world. We are not, if you swim in the Trinidad and Tobago, we go quarantine you for 21 days. And we're locking in a room for 21 days. So you're signing a letter on the beach, giving up your rights to any habeas corpus for 21 days. We lock your ass in a room for 21 days. And then we test you. And you're free to go. Or you have COVID-19. Swim back where you come from. The government was supposed to initiate and lead from in front. When they failed to do what I just said they should have done, when instead of doing that, they let 50,000 people in for Carnival and 20,000 people after, and we created the mess that is coronavirus now in Trinidad and Tobago. The government now, when you ask people to stay home, don't kick them in their face to stay home. Treat them nice. Because it's 1.4 million people you're trying to work with. And this is a very funny time because we're dealing with a virus. So police and army don't want to be locking nobody up, you know. Police and army don't even want to be interacting with you because police and army have wife and children and husband and mother and father home. So they don't want to come and get your coronavirus and take it home. So they want you to cock your ass home and they just want to secure the nation and you do your thing nice. So we could have done that. Everybody who had a prepaid phone had to switch it. The whole nation postpaid for free until coronavirus done. Sit down home and FaceTime. Sit down home and talk to one another from inside your house. I tell him Flow, every cable channel, turn it all on for everybody. Flow, Blink, Digicel, B-Mobile, Massy Communications, whatever. If it's not plugged into the people's house and they could get a chance, I tell him TTT and TV6 to start broadcasting movies, round the clock, anything that you could. AVM, I'll make that the Cartoon Network. For parents who have children stuck home, I gain your Peppa Pig 24 hours a day. Because if you're a parent with a small child, you know Peppa Pig should be knighted. Few things can get children to sit down calm for about 45 minutes like Peppa. And I'll make sure that they get that. And then I'll remove the VAT from all the food, remove it all together. No 12.5 on this and 10%. Remove the VAT. Remove the VAT. Where we could, remove the duty. You see, you need the country to survive. You need the country to survive. And you needed people to feel, to come back home and take pictures and say, look, I buy a Christmas ham for $40. Because the government say, go home, bake ham, make bread, play some music, watch some TV, play all board games with your family, consider it a vacation. We will do everything in our power to make life easy. We will give you water 24/7 in your tap. We will do everything to make your life easy. We will organize and put the army and the Coast Guard or whoever to work, dropping groceries in old people's house. So you don't have to worry and come to line up. And all pensioners and everybody, it's going straight into your bank account. We're sending you a text. Is this your bank account? Confirm it. We could have done it. We could have fixed. And you know what? Right now, my inbox full of people who just fed up and they're tired and they're hungry. I'll tell the government, You're losing control. Kamala is not the solution. She has no idea either. But I want to tell the government, you're losing control. People losing faith. And I want Keith Rowley to remember, after Eric Williams, Manning was the head of the cult for a long time. There are people would have bleed for Manning. And that same Manning in 2010 collect some ripe mango in the ass in Bally's yard. I want Keith Rowley to hear that, to remember that you can only fool people for so long, so don't think. Don't believe for 1 minute. Don't believe that the love is everlasting and enduring. You're not doing a good job. You're making a mess of Trinidad and Tobago. You're driving a wedge between the races. What you did with the people from Barbados and the 3 days difference between that and the PNM fundraiser cruise that infect Trinidad and Tobago with 65 cases of coronavirus and kill 6 people. That cruise that came in, that cruise, the difference between the Barbados crew who missed the deadline by 14 hours. That's what they did. They missed the deadline to get into Trinidad and Tobago by 14 hours, and they've been punishing them since. We have people in this country, old people in Margarita. They have a man texting me. He is in Margarita Airport. They're living on plantain 6 days now. You're not doing a good job, Keith Rowley. You're driving a wedge between the races. That piece of bullshit Susie Hadid ended up talking when the 1% lost their contracts. That shows you that you've made a mess of the social fabric, and that good and decent and authentic Syrian people nearly passed in a rush for Susie and the handful of corrupt Syrians. And that's why I had to jump in that conversation and bring Gary Aboud and Ghassan Youssef to debunk the idea that all Syrian people behave like that, because that's not true. And Anthony Sterling, I spoke about the Venezuelan people. I spoke about the Venezuelan people. We have them here now. We have them here. I see the UNC asking if you missed the laptops. I want to tell the UNC no. It was a good initiative, but don't pretend it was the only initiative, because if I was the Prime Minister right now, the education would be going on AVM channel right now. You'd be able to access it. All the channels. And all you need is one teacher per subject. But Keith Rowley, you're making a mess, and you're losing control. And if it wasn't for Gary Griffith and the common sense that he brings to the conversation, I fear where we would have been by now. I fear. Christian Dowden say, boy, B-O-I, talk is cheap. When you reach all this talk you have will change. My friend, what's your name? Christian Dowden. My friend, if that were true, I'd be in the PNM right now as an MP or a senator, because they wanted that bad. They wanted that bad like a crackhead needed crack. They wanted that bad like a pig wanted mud. You don't know how they begged me to take that Diego Martin Central seat. So don't talk what you don't know. If what I wanted was to be a corrupt politician, I'd be in one of the corrupt political parties already. This work that I am doing right here today, I started this video at 3:30, it's 3:45 on the 14th of April. And I'm telling you right now, to you, Mr. Dowden, and to everybody else listening, I don't want to be doing no videos. I don't want to be talking. I don't want to be saying anything anymore. I think that we are so far gone that talk alone, and not even my talk, going to make a difference. I feel that we've lost a large part of this country already, and I need to be here and I need to be sane for when, after whatever happens. If it collapses, I have to be here to give people a voice of reason. I'm doing this today again, hoping to reach these duendes and demons and get them to understand that oppressing poor people to further enrich already rich people it's not going to work out well for none of us. Not them and not us. And I live long enough to watch fellas who had more money than God dead and leave it in a box. Leave here in a box. No matter how fancy your box is. They could put spinning wheels on your box. They could put lights inside. They could air condition your box. Cockroach and worms still coming to eat your eyeballs. Or they go in and burn you. But it ends. No matter how much you have. No matter how much you get. It ends. Yeah? So to those who think that I have any interest in public office to further myself, talk to the people who know me. And they will tell you what I give up to do this. Kind of human I am. I have zero interest in stunting. I have all of my remaining life is to do what I could to leave this world a better place as much as is in my capacity to do so. My father raised me to believe that to whom much is given, much is expected. And it is why there are family members of mine that hate me today for calling them out and the shit that they do. Because I prefer to live alone than have to consider myself. And I said it last night. I said politics in this country, it makes you feel like your only choices is to become a monster or to join with the other monsters. I have not had a live video for a while. And it's not because I don't want to talk to you all. It's just the politics has become so unbearably nasty, so stink, that I don't even know at this point if we could come back from the abyss. I don't know. I don't know. I am here. And I continue to do everything that I can do to get this government to understand that you have a responsibility to all the people. Black, white, red, green, every shade in between. The government's attention must be for the smallest and the least among us. Ignore the people who don't have the capacity to understand that the only purpose of strength is to help the weak. That the only purpose of plenty is to give those who have none. Forget the rest. Forget the rest. Going forward from here will require a level of compassion that I don't think this government has. I don't think they have it. I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago that should the opportunity present itself for you to rescue this country from the criminally corrupt and the racist cults, and you do it, there are a lot of good, intelligent, bright people. And that's what the Plain Talk show does. It keeps bringing them for you to see that this band of malcontents and never-do-wells, that's not the only option. You have a chance. Going forward, that's going to be up to us. Yeah? But to Mr. Dial Singh, save us the investigation. If you really care, if somebody other than you made that choice, fire that person today. Fire them. Like Stuart Young needs to fire the person who made the decision about the security contracts. But I know that if you fire the person responsible for Brooklyn and Grandy, you're firing the Alsing. And if you're going to fire the person responsible for those corrupt contracts, you'll be firing Stuart Young. And if you want to fire the person responsible for the mess that Trinidad and Tobago is today, you'll be firing Keith Rowley. So they have to give you double speak and misdirection. COVID-19 coronavirus, the crisis is behind us. We're going to have it. 35 million people dead from AIDS. AIDS, the world learned of AIDS, HIV AIDS, in my lifetime. I had now become an adult. It was the 80s that we got AIDS. 35 million people dead from that. They found medication to manage it. So you could live a life with HIV and AIDS, but 35 million people have died. 50,000 people dead from coronavirus. I'm not minimizing it. I am saying that the worst is behind us. We as a world have to learn to manage and live with that. Because when economies collapse, that's when real problems are going to start. Yeah? But anyway, we go forward from here. Until tomorrow. I have an interview tomorrow evening with the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts at 8 o'clock. So if you have the time, you're not busy doing something else, I'll see you then. Until tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad.